Hi. You know, this is something I find myself doing more recently. And I'll give a little background because I would say when I first moved to America, I was a little bit more apprehensive about doing this because the way people would come at me was more of a disbelief of where I'm from, and accusatory versus like curious and wanting to learn. Like when people come at you sideways about things, it is hard to open up and feel comfortable, right? And I'll explain what I mean. So like let's say somebody heard me say something, and my accent came out a little bit more. They would say, "Where are you from?" And I'd tell them where I'm from, but then it was always kind of like, you don't look Jamaican, right? Or you don't, you just something of that nature that always used to throw me off. Where in my 20s, or early teens, late teens, early 20s, it would not be something that I would want to like confront. I don't know why. Like I would say things, like I'd comment and say things like, what Jamaican people supposed to look like? I think for me it was more of shock because internet is free, Google is free, and I couldn't understand why so many people would tell me, no, you're not from there, or you are not this, or you don't sound like all the regular Jamaican people I know, and blah, 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 blah. Whatever the hell people like to say to make themselves feel comfortable when they interact with somebody they've never met. Anyway, I'm going run around in circles about that, but ultimately I was saying that lately what I've been more confident in doing is inviting people in that world, right? Like saying, in my culture this, or in my culture that. It was something that I didn't realize I was doing it, but it was something that I started to do maybe, I don't know, I would say like in the last few years. So just now, I was doing my nails, and the girl was saying how, there's a ghost where they are. And as I was leaving, I said, in my culture we call ghost duppy. And she was like, well, I hope that duppy leave me alone for the rest of the day. And I was like, that's so cute. But also proud of myself for actually trying to invite people more into my realm. There was a time where I would mask like almost 100% of the time, just because I never want to deal with it. Like, people don't understand how insufferable it can be sometimes, and it's not all the time you want to like explain the meticulousness of your life. So even when I was younger, and like people would ask me like what my racial background is, right? Like I'd start to share, and then people would be like, well, I thought you said you were Jamaican. Why the bomber clot you coming at me sideways about that? Do you guys realize that colonization does that? Meaning, if you are from a colonized country, or a country that was colonized, chances are you might meet a mixed person. I don't know all the details of my history. I just know that my bloodline have multiple different races. And if you guys actually use the Google that is free, maybe you wouldn't be so shocked when people say I am X race and Y race, and yes, I am from Jamaica, because in Jamaica It's multiple different races, not just what you expect. It's like the other day I was having a conversation with somebody, and I'm not even going to really talk about the statement, but they made a statement, and I was like, how do you not know that Jamaican people are like all these different cultures? Do you know who Bob Marley is? And the person said yes. I said, okay, yeah, you know, his dad is white. I love how nobody knows that. Like, the internet is free, and I don't know everything, and there are times where I'll have to like Google, because just because I'm from there doesn't mean I know everything. Why people don't use Google more? I'm confused. I don't know. But anyway, that was the thought today. Goodbye.